screen, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh. Okay, ladies and gents, what a fantastic Grand Prix in Spain. Now, many of you may or may not actually agree with me on this one. I think there was a lot that was exposed, you could say here. Now, let's go through it, right? So, okay. Number one, in a bit of news before we get into it, Flavio Briatore. He's coming back to Formula 1, baby. Now, what they are saying about Flavio, guys, if you don't know who this guy is, Flavio Briatore was a goddamn genius when it came to being a team boss. Extremely resourceful, extremely talented. He had a real feel for a driver's point of view. He was right behind Michael Schumacher's 2 world championships in a row back to back when he was at Benetton, and he was the team owner at Benetton, and he basically brought Schumacher to his championships. He also did it with Fernando Alonso as well. So this guy, he's really good, and I think he's coming back now. I'm sorry guys, excuse me. He's coming back now. He's 74 years of age. And he's coming back in the Alpine team and as the executive advisor. I'm just going through the notes here, guys. And I think it's a great asset for him. I think what he can bring... Now, okay, he's 74. Still doesn't mean he's not going to be any good. It still could mean he could be brilliant, or he could have lost it. Who knows? Point is, this guy is bloody resourceful. He'll get to the bottom of any type of problem. In other words, he's great at getting the best out of the engineers, the best out of the driver, the best out of sponsorship money. He is incredibly resourceful. That is his talent. And if he's anything like when he was with Alonso and Schumacher, he's going to be dynamite for that team. So guys, let's watch this space, because Flavio Briatore coming back on the scene is very exciting. Okay, so let's have a look at my notes. Now, before we get into the race, guys, it was such a shame. Oscar Piastri, he was on his qualifying lap in qualifying 3, and just on literally his last lap, as many of you may or may not have seen it, he goes into the gravel trap. I honestly think if he actually didn't go in, he probably would have been on the front row with Lando Norris. I actually think it would have been Norris, followed by Piastri, and then Verstappen in 3rd. And I was saying it before the race, and I'm going to say it again. McLaren really need to start winning here. Podiums are not bloody good enough. They're not bloody good enough, guys. And, well, we won't give away the race just yet, in case you haven't seen it. But they really got to put their foot down, guys, because otherwise the championship is going to go. Now, let's go on to the next one. Before the race, I thought this was really cool, and I loved the way Christian Horner actually gave us some good insight here. Christian was interviewed before the race, and he said, well, this is all about the left tires. Now, what does he mean by that? What Christian means is that, guys, the wear and tear on the tires itself. So there's a lot of right-hand corners in Spain. But the thing is, it doesn't mean right-hand corners are actually affecting the car. So what happens is, if you're going into a lot of right-handers, what happens? The weight gets transferred onto the left. And if you go into a lot of left-handers, what happens? The weight gets transferred onto the right. So the thing is, with Barcelona, the way the gradient of the track temperature, the gradient, the humidity, the load, the high-speed corners, that's what he means. And so there is a lot of tire wear in Spain. So it's all about managing the left side of the tires, as in, like we were just saying, the weight transfer from the right to the left is very important on this track. And he's bang on the button. It's all about preserving those tires around this track as long as you can, and preferably the left-hand side. So now, we don't know exactly what kind of tire pressures they were running, but I mean, for instance, you could even load the tire pressures up more on the left side than the right. So in other words, there could be, I don't know what kind of temperatures now those Pirellis would run, but let's say it's 26 and 28, right? 26 pounds of pressure on the front, 28 in the back. What they could do even in a track like this is actually load it up 26 on the both right front and the right back, and then they could go up to 30 on the left side of the car. So it's all about just trying to in a way unbalance the car. Sounds weird, but it would help around here. It would help. And raising the tire pressure, now it depends on which way you go and what your starting point is, but it sounds like to me that they would be raising the tire pressures on the left side of that car, so then it won't dig in, the tire won't be as sticky then. Therefore the right side will stay sticky, but the left will just ever so slightly lose that little bit of grip. So that would be very, very important for like Christian's saying about that left side is where it's all about. And I love the way he gave us that insight, you know, because not a lot of team bosses would actually decide to go that far even. So I thought it was very interesting, and hats off to Christian Horner, and it was awesome. Now then, guys, look, if you're watching Sky Sports, they were just before the race, they were talking about upgrades. Now, upgrades, you know, they're just not telling you the truth. I'm sorry to say it, but they're actually lying to you. They're lying to you. The girl comes on and she goes, well, you know, a lighter car basically means it's quicker. No, that's not what it is. Even Anthony Davidson, he was bluffing with her as well. The two of them were at it. And I can't remember what the girl's name is. Not Naomi, the other girl, the blonde lady. But Anthony Davidson, they both were just flat out lying. And I don't understand it, because Anthony Davidson was a race driver. So, like, my point is, guys, a lighter car does not instantly mean that the car is going to go better. So, in other words, you could have a car that's 300 kilos, right? Let's just say. You could have a car that's 301 kilos. Now, technically, that the car should be faster if it's lighter. But the thing is, it depends on the balance. So if you've got a balanced car that is balanced at 301 kilos, if you make that car a little bit lighter, the car could be completely misaligned and completely thrown off, and you've got no grip anymore. Because even that 1 kilo more, if the car is getting pressed down to the ground with downforce, that's an extra kilo that's pressurizing the wings and pressurizing the balance of the car and pushing it, sucking the car down to the ground. So in many ways, and not all the time, sometimes that you'll have the car going better when it's heavier. I know it sounds weird. Now, they're lying to you when they're not lying to you, I suppose. Maybe I'm full of crap here. I'm going one way and then the other way. But no, like, they're not telling you the whole truth here. They're not telling you the whole truth. Because yes, quite a lot of times, technically, the lighter the car, the better. But that is not the case. I mean, guys, you can even see in some of the races here. Bear with me, guys. I'm just clearing my throat here. Sorry about that. Like, even in, like, maybe some of you have noticed that when they actually, when they're in a race, and you can see that if they put on the hard tire, their lap times get better, even though they were on the soft, right? So, well, technically speaking, the soft tire is quicker. But then all of a sudden you see somebody go on the medium or the hard tire, and boom, fastest lap, right? So, and it's an understandable question, like, hang on, what's that about? But again, it's just about the balance of the car, guys. You see, you've got the fuel load, you've got everything set up for the race. And I've said it loads of times already, cars can behave differently all the time. And, you know, you can see, okay, Mercedes, they brought an upgrade here for this weekend, a lighter floor. Now, a lighter floor does not mean that it's going to be quicker. Now, okay, you could argue with me here and say, well, hang on a second, Peter. Hamilton and Russell put it on the second row. Yes. But again, guys, we're only at one track here. You see, my point is, this could have been a brilliant upgrade for them, but they have to go to other tracks, different types of tracks, to know if they're really quick. I mean, if we remember, we'll go back to the example I've given a few weeks ago. George Russell won in 2022. He won in Brazil. Okay, he won the race outright. But yet every other race, he was nowhere. So yes, you can go well for these type of tracks, this and that, but then again, you get to a high speed, low speed, whatever it is, you're nowhere. So you really, the real test, guys, is having a quick car at every type of track. Now, McLaren are looking good, but we're going to have to wait until we get to Silverstone in a few weeks. And that will be the real test now, because they've shown their pace at, let's say, Spain. They've showed their pace at Italy, where they won that one, didn't they? Yes, they did. They showed their pace at Monaco. Both tracks, slow and mid-speed bends. Silverstone, really, really high speed. And if they're quick there, that's ticking all the boxes. Now, do they have a car that's quick enough to win the championship now? I don't know. Will we get into the race, guys? I think we will. So anyway, guys, the point is this. Just because, well, let's finish off the topic about upgrades. Just because you've got a really, really good car in one track doesn't mean you're going to be brilliant everywhere else. Just because an upgrade comes in, technically speaking, it should be better. But once the track hits tarmac, man, no matter how much wind tunnel you have, no matter how much research you've done, the moment it hits that tarmac, everything can change. Everything can change. So, okay, guys, let's get into the race. Well, I was saying there at the start of the podcast that I think it was a very good race, and it exposed where the mentality of the teams are. Now, honestly, I think that race today, look, let's just spill the beans. Verstappen takes the win. And Norris comes in second. Norris started on pole, a great pole position by him in fairness, and McLaren, brilliant result. But then he finishes second. Now, where did they lose it today? At the start. Really at the start. And the problem was, excuse me guys, with Spain, did they say, isn't it I think it's an 800 meter dash down to the first corner. Now, we can see, as we saw at the start line there, Russell from third overtakes the two boys and gets into the lead in the first corner. Brilliant move by him, and bravo to you, sir. It was a very, very cool move. It was awesome. He went straight around the outside, boom, from third to first corner. It was awesome, lovely. And where he actually got into the lead here, his trick was here, is that because there's such a long run down into the first corner, you can pick up speed and literally stick under somebody's wing, get the slipstream, and boom, and out you go. Because there's so much time to get down to the first corner. I think they even said it was 11 seconds. 11 seconds from that start line into the first corner. That's a long bloody time, guys. And that's where he got it. You could see it on the replay too. He just stuck under the bumper and out he went onto the outside and bang, overtook the two boys. Now, in many ways, starting on the second row is actually better than starting on the front row in Spain, because you can get that slipstream. Now, look, of course, you still want to get pole position. It's great, but actually, really, if you're not quick enough and you end up coming in after qualifying and you're third, I'd have a good smile on my face. I honestly would. I'd be smiling ear to ear, man. And with my engineer, be like, oh man, this is looking good. This is looking really, really good. And so many other drivers have done it throughout the years too as well at Spain. So many. And even Fernando Alonso, he did that a few years ago. I think, was it from fourth or third into first? Bang, when he was at the Ferrari. A lot of drivers have done it over the years. So that was where it all went belly up for McLaren. They had the pace. You could see McLaren gaining at the end. They just couldn't squeeze it out. I don't know, was Lando probably suffering with tyre wear? I think he was. And that was unfortunate for him. But look, end of the day, they do have the pace. And I like that they're keeping the attention on Lando now. It looks to be anyway. And that's what they need to do, guys. That's what they need to do. Max comes away with a win again. Norris coming in second. This is not good enough because now Max has just extended his lead by another 8 points. I mean, if this keeps happening in 10 races, that's 80 points. 80 points just by finishing first and the guy comes in second. You know? So now McLaren need to turn that around. McLaren need to be the one gaining those 8 points. And, 10 races from now, that's 80 points. That's a lot of points for just finishing second. So, I hope they're not, well, it was a good result, lads, wasn't it? Yeah, it's great. Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. No. Come on, McLaren. Get your ass in gear, man. Get your ass in gear. It needs to be now back-to-back wins straight in Austria next weekend, Silverstone the week after. This is a triple header, guys. Can they do it? I think. Do they have the pace? I think they do. Will they convert? That's the thing. I mean, this is where you miss someone like Ron Dennis. Ron Dennis, the old team boss of McLaren. This stuff wouldn't be happening, guys. This stuff wouldn't be happening. Ron Dennis would be clamping down on his team, on his drivers. Guys, hey, guys, what are you talking about? Celebrating fucking second position. You joking me? He wouldn't take any prisoners here. Whereas I think Zach Brown, he doesn't have the confidence. And look, hey, there's no doubt about it. Zach Brown's job coming in and overtaking, replacing Ron Dennis, that is a tough thing to do. He's in the shadow still. And I think even their pit stop guys today, they really needed to do a pit stop, a good pit stop, their last one here at McLaren. And they had a 3-second pit stop versus a 2-second pit stop. Maybe even a 1.9 would have done. But do you know what I mean? Ron Dennis and his boys back in the day, they would have known how bloody important that pit stop needed to be. And there's no way Ron Dennis would have made that mistake. Now, you couldn't blame Zach Brown because it wasn't him putting on the tyre. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the team boss anyway. And somebody made a mistake. It's all back on Zach Brown. He's the one in charge. So, can they do it? They definitely can. I think they just need that extra little bit of confidence now. Verstappen needs to, simply put, he needs to start having DNFs. Otherwise it's over. It's over. And I hate saying that. We're not even halfway, lads. We're not even halfway, and here I am talking. I'm almost throwing in the towel here. I don't want to be thrown in the towel because there's a long bloody way to go. The thing is, the Red Bull is a bloody reliable car. It's so reliable. I mean, even when they had that DNF this year already, that was almost like your heart dropping to the ground with shock. It just doesn't happen with that car. And they have lost a bit of pace. Now, why would you think they've lost a bit of pace? That is beyond me. I mean, it's almost like when Adrian Newey turned around and said, hey guys, I'm gone at the end of the year. It's almost like they lost their mojo or something. And I honestly, it's not that Adrian Newey's holding back now. Adrian Newey still, believe you me, he wants to win the bloody championship. You can be sure of that. There's no two ways about it. Christian Horner wants the championship. Max Verstappen wants the championship. Everybody, engineers and the mechanics at Red Bull want the championship. But what has happened? What has happened? Has their mojo, has their confidence, that I suppose that invincible feeling they've had, I guess, or whatever you call it, the untouchable feel, seems to be gone. Now, guys, obviously it's great for us to watch this, and hey, I'm a Verstappen fan, and even I was actually disappointed that Verstappen won today, because I want to see a good fight here with these guys. Now, look, it's still early enough in the year. A racing incident, right, where Oscar Piastri or Lewis Hamilton collide with Verstappen at one corner. That's all it takes. And then all of a sudden, McLaren gain a little bit of momentum, put the pressure on a bit, and then bang, you could potentially see Red Bull buckle. But again, we'll have to see. But guys, I thought it was a very, very interesting race. It was exposing because you can see there is that lack of inexperience when it comes to winning a championship here, I think. And at the end of the day, that pit stop killed him as well. Russell at the start, yes, he obviously got a very good start. That killed him too. The start was the killer. It was the start of losing the momentum. Now, if Lando Norris went into turn 1 in the lead, I think he would have won it anyway, because he did have pace. He was at times quicker than Verstappen. So anyway, guys, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Short and sweet today, guys, but I loved it. A great Spanish Grand Prix, and it's exciting. In fairness, even though I know I'm almost like negative Nelly here, throwing in the towel. It's all over. Oh my God, it's over. It's not over either. It's not. Silverstone and Austria coming up next. Sorry, guys. Next weekend, we're going to be obviously doing a preview for that, and it's going to be tough because Max Verstappen, that's their home track. So it's going to be even tougher for McLaren to gain an advantage here with them. But it ain't over yet. There's a long way to go. Guys, thanks for listening. Talk to you later.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.